On today's show, we're joined by recurring guest, Belleville Senators forward, Oskar Pettersson.
Pistol Pete tells us all about coming over to North America, playing with the Belleville Senators, and gives us an update about how Dev Camp went.
That and a whole lot more on today's Locked On Sens.
I'm Jake Sanderson.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. This summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. You can follow the show on social media. We're at Sens Central on Twitter. You can find us wherever you download podcasts, including on YouTube, where we say hello and let you know that a like, comment, and subscription go a long way to helping the show grow. You can also leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform. We are your team every day, and it is a great way to help elevate the show as we head in to next season. Today is Tuesday, July 9th, and Pilsy, I'm not sure anybody in Senators history has become a fan favorite without ever stepping on the ice, but Linus Ullmark is testing that theory.
Yeah, everyone's super happy that he's in Ottawa. Ross, the Sens just posted that video of, they bring the guys in. They do it with coaching staff too. They did it with Travis Green walking through the arena for the first time, meeting up with people, and I don't think I've seen Steve Stais smile as much as he did in that video when he's talking with Linus Ullmark. He knows that's his guy.
Do you think it's his proudest day as GM?
It might be, but I don't think he's about to proclaim that, Ross. But Linus just seems like such a down-to-earth guy, and I love the moment where he was with the equipment managers, because the players know those are the guys that makes the wheels go round on an NHL team, especially as a goalie. You want to make sure you're in good with the equipment guys because they're handling your gear. So I thought that was a nice touch there, and they seem to appreciate it too.
Well, especially we got to give a quick stick taps to Alex, one of the equipment staff, when we were at the old bar with Dean Brown in Minneapolis in April. So they're all just salt of the earth. Nobody works harder than those guys. So
Cheers.
To see them get some shine in a video like this was awesome. But also to dig a little deeper, and if you haven't seen it, the video is posted all over the Senators' social platforms. But funny enough, right before we saw that, we were just chatting with Oskar after our interview, which we'll get to. And he's a very insightful guy. I think everyone's going to appreciate this interview. But he mentioned to us just off air, hey, Linus was not only at the arena during Dev Camp, he was riding the bike with us. He was at the meal room with us. He was asking us questions about ourselves, trying to get to know us. Now, I'm not throwing shade at Alex DeBrincat. He never asked to come to Ottawa. He exercised his right that he said he would have played it out and gone to UFA. That's his right.
Fine.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's not Alex DeBrincat's problem. But if you contrast how the first video of DeBrincat came in, where DJ mentioned beating him in the Memorial Cup, that was their big selling feature, to this, it just feels so different. And maybe this is me getting ready to be hurt again, but it just feels like, why would Linus put in that extra time? Of course, he's just a good guy, would be an easy answer, but it feels good about the potential that this is going to be a relationship that lasts longer than just the 1 year that's left on his contract.
Yeah, and Ross, with the DeBrincat trade, like we had that warm, cozy feeling being like, sure, he's not signed to an extension, but he's an RFA. They've got the leverage. It's going to figure itself out, blah, blah, blah. But with Ullmark, I don't have that fear or that need to be like, when's the extension coming? Is he going to stay? It just feels like this is a more natural fit. And it seems like this is the fit that Ullmark and his family are looking for. Whereas with DeBrincat, you kind of got the idea that him and his family wanted to be in the U.S. somewhere, more specifically Michigan, so they could be closer to their family. And like you said, that's fine. That's fine. But I don't have a lot of worry, or I'm not, it doesn't keep me up at night that Linus Ullmark hasn't signed yet. Yet is the key word there. I'm pretty confident it's going to get done here, especially Ross, when he helps this team start winning games and the boys get back to a good mood.
Oh, it'd be awesome. Thomas Chabot was in the video as well, just saying, hey, we're happy to have you. And when it comes to Linus Ullmark, another thing that stood out to me from that video was him saying, hey, I want to have everything ready for when my family comes in August. That's music to my ears, that the starting goaltender for this team is going to be here well before training camp's probably opening on September 17th, 18th. Nothing official yet, but the first preseason game, I think, is on the 22nd. So you want about a week before that. So if he's coming in August, man, he's going to be gearing it up with his teammates, getting ready to go. And I think that, again, just speaks to the leadership that you're getting with Linus Ullmark. Not only is he coming from a winning organization, but to have leadership from the goaltending position, I think is such an added confidence to your entire group. And welcome to Ottawa once again, Linus Ullmark. And the Swedish invasion continues, not only in Ottawa with Ullmark coming in, the Sens goalie duo, both from Sweden, but now we're back-to-back shows having Swedish prospects on. And these guys, like, obviously they're kind of at a younger age now. They're more media savvy. They grow up in this environment, but like, these are two engaging individuals, and especially Pistol Pete, who we've got a bit of a relationship now, his fourth time on the show today. I think that the Sens are in really good hands, and it sounds like he left a pretty good impression at Dev Camp as well from everything we're hearing about the 3-on-3 tournament and more.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Oskar Pettersson, this is a guy, he's got goals. He sees a path for himself in this organization, and he wants to show the new regime, hey, I know you guys don't have any, connected loyalty to me. You guys aren't the ones that drafted me, but he's going to show them what he's got. And I'm excited for Pistol Pete to have a smoother transition with the organization than last year. He's coming over from Sweden in February, late January. He's now thrust into the AHL, whereas now he's got a little more familiarity and he's ready to go. So I'm excited for Pistol Pete's season coming up.
Let's hear from the man himself. Oskar Pettersson joins Locked On Senators next.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. I love sports. Ross loves sports. You love sports. I love sports so much. I never want them to stop, but NBA, NHL playoffs are done. And the sports, they're not sports in quite the way I want them to, but FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I got to do is open up my app or go to the website and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood or I got a gut feeling I'm on to something. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers, not just new customers, all customers with a boost or bonus daily, every single day. It's your betting app every day. That's why we're partnered with the FanDuel Sportsbook. And there's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Get your baseball bets in. MLB is in full swing. Get your future bets in. Start looking at NHL, NFL, NBA futures, and figure out how you're going to approach the upcoming season. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
All right, we now welcome back a very, very special guest. It's Pistol Pete. Oskar Pettersson is joining us from back home in Sweden. We're going 2 out of 3 days all the way over in Sweden. It's a pleasure to have him on for the 4th time. How you doing today, Petey?
Doing great. Happy to be back.
Yo, I hear you're spending some time at the cottage this summer. What's the setup up there?
No, it's great. So yeah, as you guys know, just came home from the dev camp. So been some busy weeks lately. So thought it was a great time to just settle down and spend some time with the family.
Yeah, what's your off season been looking like so far, Oskar?
Yeah, obviously came home a little bit later than I usually do since in Europe we finish off earlier. So came home mid/late May. Took some weeks off and then just been grinding pretty much, focusing a lot on the training and then just trying to catch up with friends and family obviously too.
Well, it's great to catch up with you, Oskar, because we haven't actually had the chance to talk with you since you made a big career move coming over to North America. You started the year in the SHL with Rogla, and then ultimately you make the transition midway through to Belleville. What went into that decision? And how did the adjustment go initially when you came over?
Yeah. So the whole process up till that decision, obviously, it was a little bit of a weird situation. I got loaned out to Rögle, but everyone knew that I was going over for this upcoming season. And yeah, things didn't work out as planned. Team were struggling. We were almost in the bottom my whole time there, and there's a lot of different circumstances in that way. With I mean, the relegation system, that's always a big risk, and kind of affected me a little bit. That was my feeling of it, and just thought after World Juniors that I didn't want to waste any time. I thought it was better to just go over straight away, trying to get that adjustment period already last season to gain that experience for this upcoming year. And yeah, Ottawa thought the same. So very happy that it ended up that well. Thought it was a great time in Belleville. Thought I learned a lot and just a little bit more confident going in to this season with that in experience.
Yeah, tell us about that adjustment, Oskar, because you're a Swedish kid playing hockey in Sweden and you have goals to go over to North America, but you're probably pretty comfortable in your own environment and you want to do right by Rögle and you want to keep going. But where does it come to a point where you decide, all right, I think now is the time where I'm going to take that step. I'm going to leave Sweden. I'm going to go to North America. Was there kind of one moment or one conversation where that kind of clicked for you, or did it kind of slowly happen?
I would say that it kind of slowly happened because the World Juniors were like right in the middle of it. So that kind of like broke everything up a little bit. I started to already like think in that way and started to discuss that with the persons around me even before World Juniors. But we kind of couldn't do anything then because the focus were obviously at that tournament and you got the pre-camp and all that. And then when I came home and things didn't really change back home here. And I kind of realized pretty quick that, okay, it's time to move on. And yeah, as I told you guys, I'm very, very happy with that decision. I thought that was kind of a turnaround for me this season, and as I said, I learned a lot, and I really gained some big experience for this upcoming season.
And it's almost like a co-op then, like, you know, you finish school and you do a work placement because you know that this fall you're going there. So it's like when a guy comes out of college at the end of the season, you just get familiar with the area. So now, I mean, you've been in Belleville for a while. You got to be a Black Ace and watch the team win their first playoff series. You got to see the best of CAA Arena filled up. And what did you take away from maybe some of the veterans, you know, the Igor Sokolovs, Matthew Highmore, Garrett Pilon, the list goes on, but all these guys who have been there, done that in the league before, what were the biggest lessons they taught you coming over to the small ice?
Yeah, I was just about to say it was probably most of the things were probably about how to handle with the smaller ice surface. I have never played on the smaller ice before in that way. I played the World Juniors in Halifax, but I mean that was 7 games in a short period of time. Except of that, I never played on smaller ice surface, and there's a lot of differences. That's not only a thing that people like is saying that like bigger ice compared to smaller ice and all that. It was really a big difference, and it took some time to get used to that. And I mean, just the fact that I played almost 30 games and I came in February 1st, I think, which is like kind of crazy when you think about it, that I still played that amount of games and just got used to the AHL lifestyle with I've never played a back-to-back before at senior level.
Wow.
Like there's a few of those, hey, with travel.
Yeah, that was just a big adjustment. I remember I came over, I played 2 games, and then we had the All-Star break. And right after the All-Star break, we had 7 in 11. And I've never done that before. In Europe, we play usually 2 games a week, Thursday, Saturday, and then you got lots of time in between. So I think that was like the biggest thing for me to learn. And then maybe ask those older guys, like, what are you guys usually thinking about when it comes to handle with sleep, getting the recovery? Like, which ways are you trying to like find some spots where you can gain things to to make sure that you're able to perform every single night. And then also, as I said earlier, like small details in the game. Obviously, like you got to use the boards way much more. You can't be like playing fancy and make a creative play all the time. And yeah, there's lots of differences, but I would say that's some of them.
And especially, I mean, you're a forechecking player, great skater with a good shot. Is it almost like a little bit more on instincts on the smaller ice because you have to make those decisions faster?
For sure. And that's why I think that I gained quite a lot of coming over. And now it was only a short period of time, so I'm just curious what I could be able to do if I'm, for example, now when I'm actually getting the chance to be a part of everything from the start, not gonna learn a new system mid-season. Like it was a lot of different things to learn. So I'm just happy that I'm going to be a part of everything from the start this year.
Yeah, and you got to play with a lot of good veterans in Belleville. You talked to us earlier about getting to play with Boko Imama. What's it like having a guy like that on your team? He's one of those guys you'd want him on your team rather than play against him. But even playing on the same line with him, like I feel like he's one of those guys that you feel a little safer out on the ice when Boko's on your line with you.
Yeah, for sure. And as a European guy, you don't really know like the hidden rules that you kind of have in North America, if you could say so. So no, it was just obviously it felt very safe out there. You knew that when Boko was out there, no one would touch you or anything, and if they did, they got a handle with him. And I also think that generally his like you can focus on what he does in the physical part, but like for example, I think he's one of the best forecheckers I've ever seen. With the explosiveness he has in his skating and all that. So not just the physical part, but also the way he plays. I think that's kind of underrated with him too.
Now you come over to Belleville and the familiarity there with certain guys and other guys that joined after you, like Stephen Halliday coming out of college. How much does the development camps, and we'll get into this one, your third one with the Senators, how much did that help the transition coming into a new locker room?
I thought it helped very much, actually. And I think, I mean, that's probably like the purpose that we have, the biggest purpose, at least with dev camps, to get to know everyone. So to make that everyone becomes more familiar with each other. And so straight when I came over, I already knew Tyler Bush. I knew Chucky. As you said, when Hallie came, I knew him too. I knew Igor since I lived with him and worked out with him in Ottawa last summer. So those guys meant a lot, just like to have some faces to kind of like those first weeks when you don't really know where to go in the locker room and you're just trying to like find some guys that you're familiar with. That just helped me a lot that I kind of had those guys. And then I can't tell like how good Larcy was to me either. He reached out straight away, picked me up at the hotel the first morning, like nice. Brought me to his place to have dinners and all that. And he's a guy also that had so much experience from playing in North America. So all different of weird questions that I had, if it was on ice, off ice, I could just ask him. And I mean, it's a difference of also like be able to speak your own language and ask. It's way much easier. So that really helped me a lot too.
Pillsy, his English is I knew you already spoke very good English, but like you're perfect, I'd say. Now the Swedes always have solid English. When did you take it in school? All the way up?
Yeah, all the way up. We kind of had to, and then I always had like pretty easy for it, I would say. But
so French is next then, Oskar. You ready?
Oh, that would be something. Jesus. No, I don't understand anything in French, and I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to.
You got Mando will help you out if you need any French.
Yeah. We had the French whole squad last year with Mando, Max, and Boaks.
True. That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's get into this development camp. You just got back, obviously third time, a little bit more familiar, but a different coaching staff at the NHL level. Did that change a lot of the drills, or was it a lot of it the same? I know Sean Donovan's been running it for years.
No, I don't think it changed a lot. I saw a lot of similarities with the years before. Obviously, some changes here and there. And for me, since I missed the whole one last year, was still kind of like, yes, it was my third, but you could pretty much say that it was like my second, since I missed everything last year except of the 3-on-3s. And
hey, you didn't miss your interviews last year either. We appreciated sitting down with you.
Yeah, I did an interview and the 3-on-3. That's pretty much
sick
all
week.
I did. Yeah, because of the sickness and all that. But and like the first one was more that I don't remember a lot from that one, because I remember that you were so nervous and you just fumbling around.
And were you at the draft in 2022?
No, I wasn't.
So you flew over from Sweden after?
Yeah, I flew the next morning pretty much, or something like that. So it was pretty hectic schedule too. So I just think it was nice this time to kind of settle down, be able to participate in everything first of all. And as you said, meet all the new coaches and all the staff and all that, and especially the guys too, obviously.
So who at this dev camp stood out to you, Oskar? We always love trying to find players that, maybe don't get as much shine as they want. And then at dev camp, they get the opportunity and they really explode. Who was one or two guys that you were playing with or up against in drills and you're like, damn, this kid's like a lot better than I thought, or he's really improved over the years, or anything like that?
Obviously, like we all know about Hallie, how skilled he is and all that. So that's kind of like a boring answer, I would almost say.
No, it's a good answer. Yeah, he was amazing at last step.
Yeah, but I'm generally gonna say that the guy that I was most curious about to see before the camp, and he also like kind of like lived up to the expectations that I had, because I knew he had a great year last year, was my very good friend Theo Wahlberg.
Nice. Okay.
I think he kind of had like a I would say like a breakout season at college level this year. I think like he was even quarterback on the first power play in Ohio, and he did put up some points, if I'm not good numbers.
21 points in 38 games as a freshman.
Solid.
Yeah, as a freshman in school, and the defenseman big, can skate so well. So I thought he impressed me a lot, and maybe that's also because he was on my team at the 3-on-3 tournament. So obviously I got to see him a little bit more closely then.
Right.
And then also Jorian. Thought Jorian can really see that he has developed a lot. I think when I played him in World Junior, I thought he was very solid too. And obviously coming off that long run with what's his team called now again?
Saginaw Spirit.
Exactly. Coming off that long run with them, probably a little confidence boost that too for him. So I thought those guys were two guys that stood out for me.
Well, you talk about playing a lot of games this year, which you did. Jorian, because he got traded and then the Memorial Cup and everything, he played 88 games this season in junior. That's wild. Now, as a forward out there, so Jorian's 6'2", 6'3", and he's like the smallest defenseman out on the ice. Was it pretty noticeable that the Senators have added a bit of size to the prospect pool on the back end? Because your guy Wahlberg's 6'5" as well.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say that I almost was about to ask you if he's really 6'2" or 6'3" or whatever you said, because he seems almost small out there. And that's the same feeling for me. I think I'm 6'2", and I almost feel small out there sometimes too, compared to all the big guys out there. But no, and I also got to say that when you guys asked me about how the players was, that I thought all the guys who got drafted now, like this whole draft class, impressed me a lot too. It was not only because yes, all of them were big guys, but I thought that everyone, you could really see that they got some skills too. So that was fun to see.
And that's impressive because, as you mentioned, it's such a whirlwind for those guys who had just gotten drafted. So for them to be able to take a deep breath, Gabriel Eliason told us his gear didn't get there until the end of the first day. So he missed a whole day on ice because of it. So that's good to hear that these kids are coming in ready to go. You already said who stood out. Pillsy, you got anything else from Dev Camp for him?
Well, we were just talking to Gabriel Eliason yesterday. So what was it like going up against him? Like that's got to be a guy that when you're a forward matching up with a D in battle drills, you're like counting the guys in line. You're like, okay, nice. I'm not going up against Eliason this time. Like what was he like on the ice?
I know what you mean though, but I've always actually been like,
he loves it.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
the
you're
guy
doing
that
the
I
opposite. You're like, I
yeah.
hope I go up against Eliason.
Yeah, because I mean, it's
Nice.
just fun to get it more competitive and actually like try yourself
Yep.
and yeah, just see like you want to beat the guy, obviously. But no, to be honest, I didn't see too much because it was kind of a lot of like forward D split, and
Okay.
we did a lot of Shelly and two. And the first day were our only like more of kind of like a team practice, and then he didn't participate. And I mean, under 3-on-3, you're just so dialed in on your own thing,
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to win the thing. So I didn't see too much, but no, obviously, if you like, if you going into a corner and a guy like that is behind you, and obviously you got to make sure that you shake your shoulder a little bit more and all that, but didn't see too much.
Is there any rivalry between HV71 and Rogla? Like, did you know anything about Eliason before, just from both being from Sweden?
Yeah, as I told you before we started to record the show, so a fun, quick little story that so I was off on a Sunday. We just played with the SHL team on the Saturday. I was just laying on the couch at home, the only day off. So my friends that plays in Rogla's junior team were just about to play HV71. So I thought, yeah, why not to watch the game? So I turned it on my computer and I start to see this tall kid, and he was just crazy out there. He was like every single whistle it was something, and he was always included, and the way he played with his physicality and all that. So and I didn't know anything about him before. I hadn't heard about him since obviously he's 2 years younger than me too. So I had to reach out to my friends that was playing the game. So obviously they couldn't answer like at the time. So I had to ask them, like, "Hey guys, who is this guy?" It's almost like I want to jump in and stand up for you guys. Like, what's going on out there? And they didn't either know, because they were also like, "Yeah, we haven't played him before, never heard about him, but he was just crazy out there." So yeah, that was the first time I kind of heard about him.
That's awesome. I love those types of stories where now you have something to laugh with them about in the locker room as well. That's it's cool to see. People are saying he's one of the meanest guys on the back end to come out of Sweden in the last few years. So he's a guy, again, you want on your team rather than playing against him. Now, unfortunately, you're out for the World Juniors, although you did get 2 opportunities, including Halifax, which you told us was an amazing atmosphere. We could see that on TV, but it's coming to Ottawa this upcoming season. So we're looking forward to that as fans to get to go check it out. How was the experience different for you from when the World Juniors was in Canada versus this past season?
More off ice, I would say, almost. Just like the hype that we had in Sweden, the kind of buzz around the tournament, obviously, and just a little bit weird to actually, like, you're so used to, like, when you meet your friends and going to a national team camp, you're so used to always travel somewhere. And we even had the pre-camp in Ängelholm where Rögle plays, where I lived by the time.
So you're just going out your regular routine, but you're going to play for the national team.
Yeah, and
Nice.
I lived at the hotel, which were 200 meters from my apartment. So all that were just a little bit different, and it didn't really feel like usual when you're like, yeah, you're so used, as I said, to fly out, go to Czech or Swiss or whatever it is. So that was obviously a little bit of a different feeling, and then just the fact that we played at home, as I said, the buzz around the tournament, and probably that we're actually like, I would say that Sweden is not that like used to be one of the goal favorites, like as clear as we was this year, because I feel like everyone kind of knew that it's gonna be either, or not that it's gonna be, but it's probably gonna be either Sweden or US. Who's gonna take it home, and I feel like even, yeah, that's maybe disrespect against you
Canada
guys, but
snubbed.
that was just what I read on the internet
On our
and what I
show.
heard. That's not my words. That's only what I heard.
Hey, that's what ended up being the final, so you're not wrong.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. So no, it was just a great experience. So fun to kind of have a last tournament with the guys. Like there's like a lot of guys on that team is still like my best friends, and we talk every single day. So kind of just sad that it ended up as it did. Still bother me, and it will probably bother me for my whole life. So yeah.
There were still some great moments in that tournament for you guys, like winning in the quarters in overtime. Like that must have been an awesome feeling. And you had the crowd behind you. I was trying, when I said that the versus Halifax, I was trying to figure out where in Sweden it was. I knew it was a home tournament for you guys, but how far, like, did you have all your family come to see that, or how did that work?
Yeah, so that was the thing. It was in Gothenburg too, which is like, my father grew up in Gothenburg.
Awesome.
My older brother studies and lives there, and all that. So, and Gothenburg is only like an hour and a half away from my hometown, Halmstad, where my whole family lives. So I had, yeah, that was something. We're trying to figure out with the tickets and all that to make sure that, like, my grandfather he got to see some games, my cousins got to see some games, my friends got to see games. So that was like a whole, I don't know, took like a week to just plan out with tickets. But I had lots of family. I had like minimum 10 people in the stands that I knew every single game, and obviously my family was there all the games. So it was fun to just get the chance to play in front of them, because that's nothing that you're that used to anymore.
Yeah,
Awesome,
that's
man.
awesome. Well, you're going to have to get tickets figured out for Belleville at CAA Arena for the family, Oskar. So my last question is, you mentioned it, this year is a little bit different because you have that comfortability of not leaving Sweden and coming to Belleville mid-season. You're going to go through training camp. You're going to have some familiarity with the coaches and players. So what are some goals that you have for this season coming up? I mean, it doesn't have to be specific numbers or anything, but just in a general sense, now that you know this is where you're heading, what are some goals you have?
Yeah, I always have a lot of goals, both number wise, but also like, I believe, I'm a big believer of, like, you can just set up a goal and then, like, don't have a plan on how to get there. You gotta, like, kind of boring answer, but like, focus on that process to get to that point too, because you can't just like throw out a number and then it's like, yeah, I wish for the best, because that's not going to happen then. So first of all, I want to get to a point where I can show off more of my offensive abilities that I know that I have, that I've showed at every single level except of senior level so far, pretty much. To score more goals and become that goal scorer against men that I know that I can be, and then also just like take a bigger role. Obviously, gain more ice time, playing in more different situations, and just grow from that. And obviously, first of all, just my first rookie tournament and my first main camp coming up. So just like focus on showing up there and just do every single thing that I can right, and just take it from there. But yeah, obviously I got numbers and all that too, but I'll keep them for myself.
Hey, that's fine.
Now.
No, hey, you said that was a boring answer. I think it's a great answer, man. Just keep your eye on what's ahead, and we know you got a bright future. Couple final ones for me here, Oskar. How much fun has it been playing junior the last couple seasons? Because your numbers are hilarious. 25 goals in 26 games, if I'm doing this right. Like, is it just automatic when you were down there? It's almost like, hey, like, I'm ready for the big team now at this point.
Yeah, I think, as you said, actually, like, that feeling, when you get that feeling, you just gain so much from it, because like, it might seem funny or sound funny, but as you said, automatic, that was almost my feeling at times. And I mean, if you have that feeling, obviously it's gonna end up well, and that feeling is nothing that you just like get from nowhere. I think that's something you're gonna like work to get, and I mean, I think that starts even in practice, just like trust your abilities, trust your instincts, and just play on those. It's easy to say that you're just got to play on your instincts, but it's a different thing to actually do it. So, as you say, it was a lot of fun playing in juniors. Like, sometimes you can even look back now and it's like I wish I even like enjoyed it more.
Miss
during
those
that.
days. Yep.
Yeah, almost. But at the same time, those are the days that I want to create in men's hockey now instead. So that's just what I'm focusing on, and I do really know what I need to focus on to get to that point. I know that I need to get a little bit quicker in my first steps, and I know that I just need to steady keep on working on my goal scoring abilities and all that. And just like at the end of the day, I think it's also about trust that if I'm doing those things, it's gonna come. So don't rush anything.
Yeah, it's 27 goals in your last 28 games at the U20 level. Two quick hitters at the end. Then you mentioned all these things you want to improve on to get to the NHL level. I remember last summer you telling us you want to be like a Patrick Hornqvist type player. Are there any NHLers right now that you watch that you think you could kind of model your game after?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thanks.
Because
Nice.
Patrick Hornqvist has always been like a main answer, and especially Gabriel.
It's a great
Landeskog.
answer.
And Gabriel Landeskog too, because
Yep.
I think obviously like as a Swedish guy, you don't watch the NHL like you watch the highlights and all that, but like obviously when I lived in Sweden, it's very hard to focus on a detail level. I actually like, and it's easier for me to know about all the Swedish guy. I do actually see some similarities in a guy like Fabian Söderlund.
Yep.
Okay.
Actually, righty, good shot, plays a physical game, good forechecker, like pretty big and explosive. So that's actually a guy that I started to look at when I moved over and was had the ability to see more NHL games, and kind of stood out for me that I could see some similarities in. So that would probably be my answer.
I think that's an awesome answer too. He scored 24 goals at a breakout season with San Jose after being traded in the Timo Meier deal the year before. So appreciate that. Last one. Why number 32? Is there any meaning behind it?
Yeah, actually a fun question, because there is
Thanks.
a pretty like that's a very meaningful number for me. So in my under 18 year, I've always played with 19. Like ever since I grew up, always. And then when I switched to Rogla, number 19 is in the rafters, so I wasn't allowed to have that, obviously. So I was kind of like, had a different numbers. You kind of didn't get to choose that much when you were that young. And then my under 18 year, we're about to change numbers again. So 2 weeks prior to that, my grandfather passed away, and he was born 1932. So I really wanted to have like a number that actually meant something to me, because then I feel like every single time that I bring the jersey on, that kind of remembers me of that. So I thought it was a great way to show my appreciation against him. So I've been sticking with 32 ever since, and I have no plans to change on that. So that's the story behind it.
That's awesome.
Cool.
And now when people watch you flying around next season, they'll have that little bit of insight as well. Oskar, we always appreciate you, man. You're a true friend of the show. We can't wait to see what this next step in your career will bring, and we look forward to catching up with you throughout the season. So thanks for doing this. Have a great summer, and we'll see you in Ottawa in September.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'll see you around.
All right, Pilsy. Well, that was a fun conversation. Oskar Pettersson certainly going to be a fan favorite in Belleville this year with his rambunctious style of play. I think he's going to get in on the forecheck and hopefully pop off the way he did in junior offensively, because we know that shot can go bang, bang in a hurry. So looking forward to him settling into his role. Pilsy, any final thoughts on today's show?
I got nothing loaded up, Ross. You got a final thought that you can kind of cover for me here?
Well, when you talked about Linus Ullmark getting cozy with the equipment guys, it got my wheels turning about what kind of setup we're going to see from Linus Ullmark. Ooh. And he hates white pads, which is music to my ears.
Yeah, absolutely. No full white pads. Get that out of here. Yeah, I'm excited to see the mask he comes up with.
I think he's going to go with the Martian. I know Corpy teased us last year with just the little one at the side. I think we're going to see an exact throwback to the Marvin the Martian. And this is not me with any sort of inside information. I almost want it to be a surprise. I don't want to know. I just want to see the masterpiece. I wonder if it's the same guy that paints all of his helmets, because Ullmark is known as having one of the better setups in the league. Like, this guy cares about his gear. He's up there. He's in the Joey DeCourt school of gear nerds. So I'm excited to see what he comes up with. And it's David Gunnarsson that does his mask. Dave Art, I believe it's called. So I'm very excited. Oh man, no, we can't afford it. There's actually an auction for his outdoor game mask last year or 2 years ago, where it was the Winter Classic, and he went with the old bear in the middle, like the old Byron Defoe. And he had a yellow cage. So he's willing to mix it up a little bit too. So I'm so excited to see what we get. And then obviously you're looking at what he brings on the ice too. It's not just look good, it's feel good and play good as well. The Sens are going to need that if they want any hope of taking a step in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have a last thought, Ross. We also did another interview today with Dean Brown. Very excited to share that one with you. Dean, such a good talker, always gives us good answers, and get ready for that interview coming up later this week.
Tomorrow on Locked On Senators, Dean Brown, the play-by-play voice of the Sens. And like, not for a second do I take it for granted that we've had Dean on the show 5 times now as well. Like, this guy is a living legend in Ottawa broadcasting. So we're excited to catch up with Dean tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed our chat with Oskar Pettersson. For today, we say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching, listening, engaging with the show. It certainly does go a long way and means a lot to us. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast. Your team every day.